again, walking is in the zone 1 range.
Yeah.
Fastest month of weight loss was April, this
Oh,
month we've just had.
God.
And the main thing, I guess, in that month was I did a lot more longer walks as well. Longer walks, longer rides, lots of zone 1 and 2. And I always used to think, with the whole fat burning, oh, you're in fat burning zone. I used to think, oh yeah, right. It's just such a nonsense. You're burning calories, whatever. But the
Mhm.
truth is, you actually are in a better fat burning zone. And I
Yeah.
understand that more because the body will use fat for fuel when you sleep because it's not massive demand on it. When
Yeah.
you're in that intense zone, it wants carbohydrate
Yeah.
because it needs fuel fast. So if you're
Yeah.
exercising at a lower intensity for longer, stands to reason that actually that's going to impact and help your fat burn.
100%. And I
That's
think
my
that's,
living testimony of that.
yeah. And I think if people want like a really simple takeaway, it's like if they just nose breathe when they're cycling, like need
Yeah,
to mouth breathe, you're probably going past that test.
yeah,
There's also an app called HRV Logger, and it's got a system on it. And there's a thing called DFA Alpha 1, which sounds way more complicated than it needs to be. And basically 0.75 will show your aerobic threshold. So if you're below that, so if say you're 0.6, you'll be you're kind of burning carbohydrates and you're coming out of that aerobic zone. So aerobic with oxygen. And when you start moving into anaerobic, you're gonna need carbohydrates. And that's great because people should train both zones, but they don't need to do as much high intensity as kind of it's advertised, because everything's high intensity. And we all love to like sweat. I always call low intensity, high intensity is uncool brother, because like high intensity is like people dripping with sweats. They got like glistening abs, and they're like, yeah, you're breathing heavy, so you must really be burning loads of fat. And yeah, you can burn fat later on,
yeah, you
but
can.
you need to be an efficient fat burner
Yeah, before.
for that to happen. Otherwise, your hunger and cravings are just going to go through the roof
Yeah,
because your body's like, hey, we lost all those carbohydrates and we have to replace them immediately because the actual mitochondria isn't efficient enough to 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 like burn fat at rest.
that's
And I
right.
find, like we were talking about, like you've lost 20 kilos and you wear weight vests. So when you're walking with that, walking is then maybe zone 3 for some people.
Yeah,
Fast walking certainly is.
yeah,
um, zone 3. So now you're tipping into carbohydrates. And then you're like, so someone runs to catch a bus and they're overweight. And that's that little run to catch the bus when you're overweight. Then burn some of those carbohydrates, and then you get this dip, and then you get these cravings, and then you get out of cycle. So the more kind of overweight you get, the more difficult the body has to manage itself. There's like a minimum requirement of movement we need.
absolutely. And one of the things as well I've noticed is that doing the zone 1 and 2 and then having the one maybe intense session, my VO2 max has gone up from 40, around 41, 42 it would have been last October, and it's now 44, which for my age group is in the superior. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's in the
Great.
you're the top fitness age 5% for your age. You're
Yeah. And
like a 20-year-old.
sorry, how are you tracking that? Is that through the
I
Garmin app
use that
or?
on the I use my Garmin
Yeah.
to connect with that. I've got two Garmins. I've got a Garmin Edge for the bike, which is bespoke for the bike as a bike computer, but then I've also got the
Yeah.
Garmin Phoenix X Plus, I think. So
And that integrates with Lumen as well. Does that integrate
yeah,
well, or do you
it,
just use your phone and?
no, it integrates well with Lumen. At the moment, it's only kind of narrow. It does the steps, it does flights climbed, it does sleep quality. It doesn't pick up the exercise sessions directly, but I guess that might be a feature that they add at some point. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but I love
yeah.
the way you can compare your workouts in the Lumen app. In the tab where you can, in your Me tab, and you can click on your measurement and you can say 90-minute bike ride, and then you get all your readings for your post 90-minute bike rides. It's really
That's
good.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. I love the updates to Lumen. They're really regular with updates. So Lumen last year to this year was really good when it started, but they've done so many little things that made me so happy. Like just little tweaks
Yeah.
that are really good. I really love the fact you can just go through all your measurements and you can almost see seasons. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, this was a
Yeah.
bit of a 4 season. This
Yeah.
was 2. What did what did I do here, that seems to be choosing ones. And then you
Yeah.
can kind of look back at your exercise history and be like, oh, this happened and this didn't happen. So I think